Hey there, this is Jacob. Today I'm going to do a review over 3 different fire starters. They're just meant to cause sparks to actually light a fire starter. The first one's with the UST spark wheel. Okay, its design and everything is kind of concepted out of the spark wheel that's inside of a Zippo to actually cause a spark. You can see it sparks. There is a flint on the inside. It's the same flint you'd put in the Zippo. This one screws in the back side. There's a spring on the inside that'll pop out here if I take it apart here, and then a flint goes on the inside. And as far as flint, as far as those of you that are not sure about that or what I'm talking about, I'm trying to grab it here without it rolling everywhere. Oh, there it went. This is a flint, and you would typically see them inside of a Zippo, but the little wheel sparks on it and causes sparks. So the great thing about typical flints that go in lighters or whatnot, you can replace them when they actually go bad, because they are only worth maybe 100 strikes, 200 strikes, somewhere in there. I'm not sure exactly how many, but eventually they stop working. The smaller they get, when they get really tiny, they end up getting hard to move in there as you're trying to run the wheel across it to create sparks. So one that can easily replace them is a lot better. So a non-replaceable option would be like a BIC lighter, which we're going to show here in a second. But replaceable options would be like this one, or the second fire starter we're going to talk about here. BIC lighter is more the third option. So we have our micro spark wheel. This is by UST. You find these on Amazon for about $7 now. When I bought mine, it was more like $12. Price has gone down. So you have this option. And all what these actually are called and their brand names and everything, descriptions will be in the description of this video. So look in the description and you'll be able to see everything if you don't understand what I'm saying too well. So this has little bumps on it, so when it goes over it makes sparks. It doesn't really turn the other direction, but it does turn this direction to make sparks. You have to push hard. So hard. Second option. This is more of my favorite amongst them. Try not to be biased here. I did like the other one a lot until I came across this one. This one is a lighter by a company called Dolphin, Dolphin. It said established 1989. Okay, very tiny, as you can see. And there's a ring on the front. I'd actually cut this off and put like a key ring on there, something real small that's actually more durable. That looks like I could bend it and might fall off at some point. If I turn it, on the inside we can already see there's a rubber seal right here that's going to keep out any water. And then I have a really tiny lighter on the inside. Yes, that is a wick. And yes, I ended up trimming my wick down because I just wanted to use it as a sparker and not the actual wick part. But yes, you can make the wick go a little bit longer, pull it out with some pliers, and then put some Zippo fluid or Rosinol fluid in the back, lighter fluid, and it will light just like a regular lighter does. If I turn it, it's actually a lot. See, my sparks are even bigger than the micro spark wheel. But what's beautiful about this thing that's great is it's water resistant, which is good for storm wise, but I always grab here, and I turn to take off. It's not threaded, it's easier to take it off at that point. On the inside is this little screwdriver piece here. That's where my flint goes. And then I have this padding here. I could take out the padding and add in 3 or 4 more flints on the inside. So literally this could last me a few years if I wanted to, just for fires. So this is the second option, and like I said, it's my favorite so far. It's strong, durable. I have a few of these. These run $3 or $4 on AliExpress. Okay, yes, you'll have to wait the shipping 4 to 6 weeks from China, but in the end you get a These things are quite impressive. Very, very tiny. And once the sparker here gets wet, they don't spark at all. I mean, you got to dry them out. Same thing with the micro spark wheel. That's where you're left with that. The micro spark wheel, you also have nowhere to put additional flints. This one you do. And screws right back together again. And once you hit that seal, just give this a little bit of a turn. Don't give it much. You're not trying to destroy the seal. You just want to make it snug on the inside so water doesn't penetrate the inside. At that point, it's ready for a kit to put away somewhere. Third option. These are mini BICs. And what you can do is, as long as you're not flicking it and starting it, when it's actually a little bit longer. I trimmed mine down to about halfway. But you'll take a screw. See? Doesn't matter what length or size or whatnot. Something a little bit smaller. Well, about this size, I would say. This one's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe. You take a screw and you'll stick it in the back of your BIC. You'll see a little bitty hole in the back of it. You'll stick it in, turn it gently, take a screwdriver, Phillips head, and turn on the screwdriver until it goes inside. When it pierces through on the inside, you'll hear psss as it's leaking out the fluid on the inside. Once it starts leaking, take it and set it down like on a paper plate or some napkins, or preferably outside. At that point, it's leaking out all the lighter fluid on the inside, which is like pressurized. So once that bleeds all out completely, take a pair of diagonal cutters, wire clippers, and cut the back end off. Just make a small snip on the back end. It should just pop off. And then you can slowly start trimming around, like you'll trim this side, and then this side, then you'll flip over, then this side, and then trim out the center a little bit, just around in a circle, and it'll trim the plastic down until you get about halfway. Don't want to go more than halfway. As well, and the inside piece, you want to leave that intact as well, halfway. It may be all jagged. Take a file, not a bastard mill file would work, but like a sharpening stone. Even the small ones you can find from Walmart in the camping section work great, but the bigger ones work as well. Grind the plastic down back and forth on the sharpening stone, and all the jagged edges all go away. Now it's all nice and smooth. It's self-contained. You cannot replace the flint on the inside is self-contained. You can't replace it. So at this point, it's disposable. You can take a small knife, get underneath the child lock on the very back here, and pull up on the knife, either a knife or an awl, or even a nail, or maybe, I'm sure a screw would work, like a longer screw, but you'll get into the underneath that child lock that's there, pull up, and pop out this way. It'll pop up and out. Once it releases out, it'll fly off. The metal here on the front here should kind of be bent out. These two tabs, a lot of times they'll be bent out. You'll just take something flat, push it against both metal pieces, and push down hard until they go back together, and then squeeze the sides again to keep the sides of the metal here together over the wheel. Once that happens, now it's just a sparker. There's no fluid. It makes sparks. Now you're telling me all the stuff about sparkers here, and you're like, well, wait a minute, I need fuel, I need something. Well, the best man-made fire starters you can make at home on your own are cotton balls and petroleum jelly. Mix the two together, a teaspoon of petroleum jelly, and 5 to 7 cotton balls all mixed together. They're lightly coated, even throughout the inside, lightly coated. They don't have to be completely soaked. But you're going to take off a piece, small, pull it apart so you get those fibers. See the fibers? You want to get those to where you can see the fibers. The fibers are pointing up, not smashed down. You'll set it back down, and all it takes is a spark. One moment, let me move this around some. And all it takes is a spark here. Oh, there we go. Well, it's sparking on top of it. And I've had flame. And that's just from like I said, any type of a sparker. So, and that's just a small little bit here I pulled out. If by the time I have my tinder bundle going, which is typically dry straw, like a big giant bundle of dry straw, rolled together into a ball, packed down real tightly, push like a hole in the center, and we call that a bird's nest. It's all super dry. I can use dry straw, dry grass, dry leaves, and everything. You do want some gracious mixture on the inside as well. Packed down with a nice hole in the center. Once I get this started, I may even get it started on the outside of that. Once I get a flame, you're just going to tuck it inside, close it up, and kind of drag it, pull it back and forth in the air out in the open, and the oxygen is going to flow through and light that on fire. Once that's on fire, you stick that inside of your teepee or log cabin, or I'm sorry, teepee, log cabin, or lean-to style fire. Those are the three major types. Most all other types are hybrids or combinations of the three types. So that goes from here. The micro spark wheel works as well, and so does this one, as far as lighting the stuff up. I mean, so I had a few pieces here. I'll just do this one and the micro spark wheel. It's a lot easier when I'm not inside of a bowl. I'm using the bowl here so I don't light my legs on fire. But we like pyrotechnics. I always get that one piece that doesn't want to cooperate. That's fine. Honestly, the Dolphin one makes a larger spark than the BIC. There we go. One spark. It was the way that this is pulled apart. If you don't pull it apart just right and get the threads out just right, you can see sparking all day and it just won't light. But so that's one. Those are the three. Dolphin Lighter, like I said, AliExpress. The UST of this umbrella Sam Tango UST micro spark wheel you'll find on Amazon for about $7. These are anywhere from $2 to $4 on AliExpress, and these will come in a pack of 3 at Walmart or any drugstore or grocery store. You'll find these, the mini BICs. That's what these are. And I told you how to get the inside, and then you have compartments in the back now to where I can take Firestarter material and stuff it into the compartments and then pack it away in a kit somewhere, and I have my fire starting material with me. So, and that's just a little bit. But like I said, you don't need a lot, just a little bit to get, you want a flame, you know, to start. Raised up as a child, my father would tell me that scout troops in the early 70s would have the one match law. If you couldn't get your fire started with one match, you didn't have a fire. You skipped that meal, you'd move on. So it's all about putting your fire together, enough tinder, enough kindling, and the right shape and everything. It's typically a teepee style with a lot of tinder in the center. And the flame is just meant to light the tinder. Once the tinder gets going, it lights everything else up. And that's what this is, just enough. So, I mean, even with char cloth, you get more of a coal, a cinder. With this, you actually get a flame. And it can be wet, it can light in wet conditions. So, that's it for this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.